Hey, welcome back. Mr. Jorgens here. We're going to be talking about section 3.4 today. It's all about finding x and y intercepts. We're going to talk more about their graphs tomorrow, so I'm calling this one a part 1. Make sure you pay attention as there will be a few questions for you along the way. So we're going to start with the x-intercept. The x-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis. So if we're thinking about a graph here, I have a coordinate plane. Remember, the x-axis is left and right, the y-axis is up and down. And so if we have a line going through the graph, the x-intercept is going to be that spot where the graph crosses the x-axis right here. So that blue point would be your x-intercept. Now the x-intercept is going to occur always when the y value is 0, because remember, if we're thinking about the y values, it goes up and down. So right here would be 0 as a y, not up or down at all. And so the x-intercept is going to occur when y is 0, so we can find it, and we're going to use this fact today by plugging in y equals 0 to find the x-intercept. So when we're trying to find the x-intercept, our strategy throughout today is going to be to plug in y equals 0. We also have the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to put that point on there in red, the spot where that line crosses the y-axis. And again, that's going to be the point where x is 0, because if we think about not going left or right at all, that would be an x value of 0. So in order to find the y-intercept today, we're going to be able to plug in x equals 0. And that's going to be our general strategy, plugging in x equals 0 to find the y-intercept. All right, here's our first one. We're going to look at finding the x and y-intercept of 2x plus 3y equals 12. So I'm going to go through them one at a time and find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and then tomorrow in day 2 we're going to work on learning how to graph this. So if we're given this equation, 2x plus 3y equals 12, and I want to find the x-intercept first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug in y equals 0. Because when I'm trying to find the x-intercept, that means I'm plugging in y is 0, because I wouldn't go up or down at all. So I'm going to be left with 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 12. So 3 times 0 is just 0, so 2x plus 0 equals 12. And if 2x is 12, I know I can undo a multiply 2 by dividing by 2. And I'm left with x equal to 6. Then if we go through to find the y-intercept, we're going to plug in x equals 0 to find the y-intercept. So if I'm looking at a y-intercept, that's going to be plugging in x equals 0. So I'm going to start with my equation, 2x plus 3y equals 0. And again, on this one, I'm going to be plugging in x equals 0. So I'll put my 0 in for x. I'm left with 2 times 0 plus 3y equals, that should say 12 in my original equation there. I'm not sure why I wrote down 0. And of course, 2 times 0 just makes 0. So I'm going to be left with 3y equals 12. So go ahead and work that out on your own. 3y equals 12, and then go ahead and solve that for y. Good, so hopefully you thought divide by 3, so y would be 4. All right, so that would mean our x-intercept is going to be the point when x is 6, then y is 0, right? So the point 6 comma 0, that's going to be our x-intercept because it's a point. So I plugged in a y value of 0 here and found x to be 6. And then over here for my y-intercept, the point is going to be x is 0 and y is 4. That's because I plugged in a x value of 0 and then solved out for a y equal to 4. All right, here's the second example for you. 3x minus 5y equals 30. So we're going to go ahead and work this one out. Again, we'll do one at a time. So I'll find the x-intercept first, then the y-intercept. Again, our x-intercept, to find that, we're going to plug in y equals 0. So in order to do that, we're going to have 3x minus 5 times y, right? So 5 times 0 is equal to 30, which really just boils down to 3x equals 30. So go ahead and solve that one out for the x if I have 3 times x equal to 30. Good, hopefully we divided by 3 there, and when we do that we get x equals 10. That's going to mean our x-intercept is going to be the point 10, 0. Now again, when I go to find my y-intercept, in order to find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug in x equals 0. So then working this out, I'm going to have 3 times my x value, so 3 times 0, minus 5y equals 30. And again, 3 times 0 is just 0, and 0 minus 5y is just negative 5y. So I get negative 5y equal to 30. So I'll go ahead and work that out for the y value. If I have negative 5 times y equal to 30, and enter your answer once you're ready. Good, hopefully we divided that by negative 5. And when you do that, you get y equal to 30 divided by negative 5 makes a negative 6 here. So again, that means I plugged in an x value of 0, so my y-intercept is going to have an x value of 0 since that's what I plugged in, and negative 6 as my y value. Alright, go ahead and try this on your own. Find the x and y intercepts of 4x minus 2y equals 16. I'm going to go ahead and start you off. Go ahead and find the x-intercept of that equation first. So start by finding the x-intercept of 4x minus 2y equals 16 and enter your answer when you're ready. Alright, so taking a look at this one, we can plug in y equals 0. 4x minus 2 times 0, of course, is going to give us 4x equals 16. Then to solve for x, I'm going to divide by 4. I'm left with 16 divided by 4, which is just 4. My 4, which comes in, is going to be my x value of my x-intercept, and then the y equals 0 that I plugged in is going to be my y value, so my point would be 4, 0. Alright, of course we found the x-intercept, now we need to find the y-intercept. That's the second part of your problem here. So we're going to go ahead and find the y-intercept. Sometimes we use int to abbreviate intercept. So go ahead and find the y-intercept now, and when you're ready you can enter your answer. Alright, let's take a look at this one. We can plug in x equals 0. 4 times 0 minus 2y on the left-hand side makes a negative 2y equal to 16. Divide both sides by negative 2. 16 divided by negative 2 on the right makes a negative 8. So we're left with y equals negative 8. So then the point 0 for x and negative 8 for the y. And again, that 0 is coming from plugging in x equals 0. That negative 8 comes from solving out for negative 8 as my intercept. So hopefully we have a good sense of how to work out x and y intercepts. We're going to talk about putting them on the graph tomorrow.